Rush Limbaugh's wit and wisdom has blessed the lives of many Americans. You can hear some of that wit and wisdom here on The James Hendricks Show. Hey guys, happy Thursday. Some of you probably have already seen the name change, okay? I was in deep thought and prayer, and it's almost like Heavenly Father told me, he said, change the name now. That way, if you pop in periodically next week, that way the change is in full effect. And it'll really be in effect when you fully come back in September. So, there we go. It's still the James Hendricks Show for today and tomorrow. And then when I come back, it'll be a name change. Now, we're going to get 3 stories. The title is going to be called Republic, if you can keep it. Now, I may have already had a title like that, but at this point, I don't care. We're like I said, we're revamping and remodeling the show. Now, you may see on your podcast title, the name is the Hendricks School of Leadership. But it's going to be called the James A. Hendricks School of Leadership. And I'll say some more about that next week. But let's get right into the news. We're going to try to get 3 stories. Wait, first, I got to say, bye-bye, Liz Chaney. Bye-bye. Now, there are some speculating that she will make an attempt to run for the presidency in 2020. I don't think so. Even I think she's going to be stopped. She may win in some of the northern primaries. But by Super Tuesday, a lot of them conservatives in the South, look, we know what she's been up to. You know, she said, well, I love President Trump in 2020. Yeah, but you also voted to impeach him. And I don't know. From what little I understand about the Constitution, and we really have, this Clinton was the first president impeached. Trump was the second president impeached. It was actually, Andrew Johnson was impeached. But the people don't know about the Constitution. The impeachment doesn't take full effect unless you're convicted by the Senate. Okay? I'm going to correct some things that are being circling around in the media. I'm going to report in ways that the media won't, on both sides, won't touch. Okay, the first one. Seeing is believing. 10-story ark. Encounter attraction. Replicates Noah's boat to the last detail. Okay, oh wow. I guess we're going to go ahead and have a little the video feed once it loads. There we go.
Did you ever wonder if Noah's Ark could really have been big enough to keep all
the... Okay. I you know what? If they're able to come up with something like that, I think it would be absolutely amazing. I mean, Hollywood's trying to do it. I gotta be honest with you. Hollywood's part of the defiant culture. We're not going to call it reactive anymore. We're going to call... here's another article if I can think of it. The devil doesn't own the airwaves. Kathy Lee Gifford plans to tell biblical stories for the rest of her life. You know what? Yay! Finally! I'm going to focus a little bit more on this. I mean, the Noah's Ark story is, the fact that they got something built like that somewhere is epic. But, as you know, having done the show, we're going to focus more on matters of leadership and faith, and I'm glad that she's taken that approach. And she should. She should. Because one thing I do know is that we need leaders like that in entertainment and otherwise to say, hey, define culture in your face. Here's the last news story, I believe. A significant victory to churches and pastors. Calvary Chapel, San Jose, wins major ruling. Legal battle still not over. Let me see if I can read this. A California church scored a significant victory against Santa Clara County in the nearly 2-year legal battle on Monday. A state appeals court has reversed temporary restraining orders, preliminary injunction, and more than $200,000 in contempt of court fines that have been targeted at the church. As CBN News reported, Calvary Chapel, San Jose, and its pastors were held in contempt of court and fined in 2020 and 2021 for violating state and county pandemic limits. You know what? These liberals in these defiant cultures are tearing apart our republic. These godless socialists, this woke defiance, is tearing apart our republic, trying to limit can we go to church and how church is done. And a lot of Christians have suffered for it. Now, right now, my Italian blood is boiling. So, well, I don't know what to say. Let's use, oh yeah, monkeypox. I forgot about that. We're going to kind of diffuse things. The monkeypox thing, a gay couple I think in France caught it. Now, I'm not going to touch what's really behind that with a 10-foot pole, but let's listen to a little bit of humor. Yeah, wrong button, brother. Go, you get my point. Now, in the wee hours of the morning, we look at the monkeypox thing from Fartville. Can you believe it? That dude had a gumption coming with a box full of bananas to look a little bit better than mine. Banana reached for that thing and that trapped him in that box. Shipped him back to his home in L.A. Where he gonna get abused? Well, I'm guessing he's thinking it's gonna spread monkeypox in this area, that area, so that they can, fart around and talk about monkeypox. Try to keep people from going to church. Look, buddy, I'm sorry, but you need to let go of that monkey so there's no chance. No, he was my monkey. I got to ask for another one from Brazil. How much does that monkey cost? About $130,000, including shipping. Buddy, man, don't be farting around ordering monkeys. Well, we get that pox. We ain't gonna get that pox. Because best monkeys. But that dude took my monkey away from me. Probably has it tied up somewhere in L.A. or Philadelphia, abusing it. He and everybody around him gonna get the pox. Yeah, I suppose you're right. I'll wait till I tell Dot about it. No, don't tell Dot. Those will be going around town. Jim, come on, dude. I don't want to hear no more about this craziness. Yeah, well, whatever. Stay tuned next time in the town of Fartville. I won't tell you some of the basic research I did behind that because, well, then you'll think I'm some kind of crackpot commentator, if you know what I mean. But I have to use a little humor sometimes to really keep me from being ticked off. Because you don't want to be ticked off. You want to be ticked on in the right way to do proactive action. Now, I was telling my best friend about the episode I recorded yesterday. He's like, Jimmy, I don't even want to hear it. And then I look, and I think it had about 13 views. 13 views. He said, Jimmy, it's because of the comedy. Of course it's because of the comedy. The humor, Sometimes in podcasting, you have to mix it up with a little humor. Okay? You don't want to fart around. But so many people on both sides of the aisle want to call what we had a democracy. When I agree with historian David Barton, Wall the Elders, he said the founding fathers said, we are not a democracy. We are not to become a democracy. You know what I say? I say we look there. No turning back. Let's look. See, so many of these leftists have been trying to read. Now, I don't know or think that the name of God is mentioned in the Constitution, and it's because I think really they don't want to put His name in vain. Okay, so the preamble. We the people of the United States of America, in the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, that's capitalized, that's one of the attributes of God, ensure domestic tranquility, that's one of the attributes of God, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty. Okay, those come from God. To ourselves and our posterity. Do order and establish the Constitution of the United States. It doesn't say anything about a republic, but I'm willing to bet. And so say, well, how do you know we're not meant to become? It's not just what David Barton said. I remember back in 1997, I took a position. I was studying political theory, and I had a professor. In my podcast, I called him Dr. Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn had a theory that you keep your ideology at the door. And as he was reading Plato and Aristotle, he said, look, America's not a democracy. We'll never become a democracy. Not a democracy in the purest form in ancient Greece. Because, well, quite frankly, sadly, it fell apart in ancient Greece. We're not a pure democracy. We are a republic. We have a republican form of government. You say, Jimmy, that's just being partisan. Really? Have you ever read the words of the Founding Fathers? Now, I'm not saying that I have totally, but trust me, one of the things I do before I do any serious podcasting in front of this cell phone microphone, I'm going to try to make it a point to read some quotes from the Founding Fathers about the system of government we're meant to have, and I think we should go on that. Now, the school of leadership ain't going to be everything having to do with politics and the news all the time. There might be some sprinkled in, but in many ways, well, quite frankly, sometimes I like to talk about better things. About better things. I keep focusing on the news, then my Italian blood's gonna boil, and sometimes that sucker's been known to pop. It's been known to pop. And so, quite frankly, it's just nuts. It's just nuts. So, here's what's up. If you'll listen to me about this, the Hendricks School of Leadership is going to cover some topics. I think one of the more important topics is the life issue, religious liberty, public goodwill. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on public affairs, public relations, those things. And a lot of emphasis on that because, let's face it, I think that's a subject, a skill that is versatile and should be studied by people who want to make a difference. Yes, political science, I think that's a good part of public affairs. If you was to have a public affairs major in my book, you are going to need at least, at least 12 hours of political science. The rest of the major courses can be divided between, mass communications, PR, and communication studies. It's also, well, Jimmy, you're an eclectic, man. You sound like somebody that should be a college professor. Yes, I should be a college professor. But you know what? The way I see it, I got my master's of papers. When I got my book written. The Winning Personality, a values-based approach to entrepreneurship and this economy. It's available on Amazon. And get it for, I think it's about $5 now, maybe. But here's the thing. Here's the beautiful part about it. You guys have a chance. One thing is also Toastmasters. I'm working on my doctorate in personal development through Toastmasters. Now, these are degrees that I and several others have made up, who don't necessarily want to try graduate school. And this is your graduate school. Only no exams. The only diploma you get is to yourself. For learning. You may say, Jimmy, you went behind the ears. You went behind the ears. That's crazy. That's crazy. But you know what? This particular podcast is meant to protect the original intent of what our founding fathers mean. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the maiden podcast for the Hendricks School of Government won't be until the 29th or after. And when it comes, you're going to be ready. But we are a republic. If you can keep it. That's what de Tocqueville told people as he was returning from the United States, I think from France. To France. Sometimes I say the wrong things and try to turn it around into something humorous, I had a career guidance counselor at Chris Cole Rehabilitation Center for the Blind 28 years ago. She said, you know what? You should skip journalism and be a comedian. I can analyze the news, but still have a little bit of humor. I can talk about other topics and still have a little bit of humor. You know what I mean? Now, I hope you enjoy listening to the James Hendricks Show. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and become a part of receiving those daily updates. This is Jimi Hendrix saying until next time, take care. Be proactively informed. You guys are amazing. See you tomorrow for Fearless Faith Friday.